morning, everybody. How are you all doing? Sam here, United People's TV at 10:03. My clock just went 10:03. So bang on today, not even 10:04. How are you all doing? We've got the board up there. We've had a new name added onto that list, Disasi from Monaco. We'll run through that. We're going to be speaking about Rasmus Hojlund. We're going to be speaking about Sheikh Jassim's fifth bid. Well, we spoke about it yesterday twice. Well, not twice. Well, I spoke about it once with you. I spoke about it as well with Ben Jacobs. We're going to run through anything else. We ran through the articles that were released from the Daily Mail at the time, Mike Keegan, the Times. Also going to run through what the Telegraph and the Athletic are saying, seeing if they're saying anything different. I don't think they are, but I'm just going to run through them anyway. Then we're going to speak about Manchester United's transfers, the latest on Mason Mount, on Kim Min-Jae. As I said, Axel Disasi, I think it is, from Monaco, a name that cropped up yesterday. We'll speak about that. And there's plenty of other things we're going to be speaking about. As always, it is a busy show, and I'm looking forward to it. So good morning to everybody. Who's down there in the comments? Flash Fire Fletch. That's a really hard name to say, but good morning to you. Carl, you're there as well. Dave Curran, we've got Julie, we've got Luke, we've got Rajiv, Nigel, Saeed, we've got Partib, we've got Peter Walton. Is it that Peter Walton? I hope. I don't really. Well, it might be. If it is Peter, ref down in the comments. Have a look at a little bit of VAR. Liam Griffin, Andy Parker, you're there as well. T and Josh Paula, all the regulars. Who's on Facebook? Lisa Jensen. We've got Alvin. We've got Simon and Theodore. I shouldn't have done that. Ian Cartwright. I'm going to move on quickly. Sorry about the boring intro, everyone. I'm never going to forget that comment. I don't know why. It really stuck with me, that comment. And I don't think you ever should forget it. It's quite funny. I like doing intros. I think everyone enjoys getting shout out. But anyway, right, let's get the show started, because there is plenty to cover, as always. And I'm like, word, wow, look at that for a start, man. Ashwin and I'm a potato. I think you just say your name as I'm a potato to make me say I'm a potato. And every time we talk about potatoes, we start speaking about what's your favorite one. I think it's probably chips. Big up to you, I'm a potato. And big up to you, Ashwin. I need to get a digital gong. I need to retire this bad boy and just pop him on the shelf. Legend, though. Ace Enforcer saying thank you. Legends, all of you. Now, look, yesterday, there's a couple of things I like to reflect on, sort of any news unrelated to Manchester United, but I want to sort of comment on at the start of the show. I don't look back at David Moyes' time at United with any sort of fondness. It was an absolute calamity, but I feel like it's been long enough that I can enjoy him enjoying that moment yesterday. David Moyes winning his first, I think that's his first trophy as well. I think he won the Community Shield once. Was that with United? I think it was. Anyway, his first major trophy in his career. I enjoyed what, mate. You saw his dad dancing. Fair play to Moyes, and that's him with his dad. His 87-year-old dad who went out to Prague. Would have been a great moment for him. So fair play to him. West Ham fans, you're absolute whoppers for throwing those plastic pint glasses at the Fiorentina player, because that's now going to be remembered, the first European Cup. Obviously, it's the majority ruined by a minority, which kind of happens. But West Ham now have won a European trophy before Arsenal and before Man City. Fingers crossed. Forza Inter. Oh man, I'm the biggest fan of Darmian. I've never once said a bad word about Darmian or Lukaku or Mkhitaryan, like, at all, ever. They're the most incredible players in the world. I swear, if any of them come through on Saturday, it is going to be a party. Now, a player yesterday, again, like, Declan Rice just genuinely seems like the nice guy, the nice dude. And for that to probably be his last game for West Ham before what is likely going to be a move to Arsenal. I'll speak about that in a minute. But it's a bit of a fairy tale ending for him. I'll tell you what, actually, in terms of the midfield performances yesterday, I thought Amrabat was actually the better player in that final. And that's what I said there on Twitter yesterday. I said, look, if you look to Amrabat in the World Cup and the hype that surrounded him and that whole Morocco team, that was because they were like backs against the wall, defending, hit on the counter attack, and they were just brilliant. They were blistering. That's how they got to the semi-final, right? But last night, in a sort of deeper line playmaker role, I thought he played pretty well, very well actually. Sort of releasing, good distribution, calm in possession, even under pressure. I thought he did quite well. Barcelona, of course, I don't know. For some reason, I can see Barcelona coming in to try and sign Amrabat. I don't know why. Well, obviously because Busquets is leaving. That'll be an interesting one. But yeah, fair play to him, man. Fair play to him. Liam Griffin going, Rice is a snake. Well, I'm guessing you might be Irish, Liam. I'm not sure. I've no idea. I'm just guessing though. Jason, you just joined as a member, buddy. Let me know where you're watching from. Legends, plenty of legends down in this comment. Oh man, there's even more legends. Innes, how you doing, buddy? You've gifted 5 memberships. That's 20 gifted memberships already. Man, this community. YouTube's got to do a case study on it because whatever we've done here, we've done it right. Seriously, we really have. But yeah, Declan Rice. We can speak about Declan Rice and we can speak about the move, any potential move for him. I think United do want him. I don't think United will be able to, in the grand scheme of things this summer, afford Declan Rice. It's just, it won't match up with the budgets that we've got. I'm not even sure Caicedo does. I really want Caicedo. But yeah, Sam Dean there from the Telegraph saying that Arsenal stepping up their pursuit of Declan Rice. I imagine we're probably, well, of course we're going to be interested in him, just like we're going to be interested in Caicedo. But I don't think that we're going to be spending north of 90 million on Declan Rice. I think he would be a brilliant signing for Arsenal. And I think anybody who's trying to say that he's overrated, I think is wrong, personally. And that's my personal opinion on Declan Rice. I think he's shown massive development over these last 18 months or so. He's now done what he can do at West Ham. Won their, was it the first trophy in 40 something years, their first European trophy as well. Mate, he's going to be a cracking signing for Arsenal, and their team is going to be much better because of it. Even if I don't think that he's worth 90 odd million, which I don't think he is. Man, look, whoa, incredible. Man, Lou. Jeez. Lou gifting 10 memberships as well. That gong is, I don't know how this gong still works. Surprised I haven't broken it yet. The amount of gifted memberships that you lot do as a community, you're incredible. Honestly, tell everybody about it. Everyone's got to come in. This has got to be the best. It is the single best community in the world. United community in the world. I'm sure there are better communities. Anyway, let's focus on the story that broke yesterday. Okay, so we went live and direct. We had an extra show. I just finished a video that was going to be published, and then I was like, boom. Mike Keegan came out with the news of the 5th bid, and we spoke about it together. We ran through the articles from Mike Keegan, from, is it Matt Taylor? Can't remember. Who was it? Who's the Times? Matt Lawton. There we go. I don't know why I completely forgot his second name. Anyway, Matt, we ran through all of that. And that final 5th bid has gone in. It's in the region of, it's between $6 to $6.5 billion. Okay. And what I did was I then had an interview with Ben a little bit later in the afternoon, where I kind of ran through a few more details. I think it's probably one of the best interviews that me and Ben have had because of the topic, because of the timing. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it because I definitely did. And inside that, me and Ben really we discussed the bid. We discussed what's kind of going on behind the scenes. And there's no point me repeating everything that's in that interview. If you'd like to, go and have a listen to it. It's only 20 minutes. I know that the interviews with me and Ben can be quite long, but that one there is only 20 minutes. And it's a very, now that the dust has settled, I suppose, and it's a day later. What are you thinking about this 5th bid? I think that the one truth, the one fact which we absolutely know now, right, is that Ineos were clearly leading the race, which is what everybody suggested in the papers, and no one really knew whether it was the truth. The only reason this 5th bid has gone in is because the Qataris realized we're going to lose. We need to up our game. So that's why that 5th bid has gone in. And then the most interesting part, in my opinion, about that 5th bid was the fact that there is a deadline of tomorrow on it, and not from the Glazers. It is a self-imposed, as I said, self-imposed deadline there from the Qatari bid that says, Abraham, Joel, all the Glazers, you've got until Friday to make your mind up. Make your mind up. Because past this point, And I want to see what the Telegraph is saying on this, because let me see what it says about that. One sec. There you go. That's what it says here. With the transfer window opening on the 14th of June, Sheikh Jassim has ruled out the possibility of a 6th bid. I'm sure they ruled out the possibility of a 5th bid, but here we go. And has decided to end all engagement with the process this Friday. Because there's been some slight mixed messaging with that. Some have been saying that past Friday that that they're just going to step away from it, and quite a few now. It seems like the majority of journalists are saying that the Qataris won't pull their bid away on Friday, but they will stop any sort of engagement. It will just be like, there's the number on the table. If you want it, you know where our email is, and that's it. That's the last sort of engagement that they are doing. And I mean, the reason they're doing that is because something has to give. Something had to change with this whole process, because for months and months, of course, the Glazers, as the sellers, they hold all the cards. Now, at the very least, there's been a little bit of a power shift, and there's now it's not a hard deadline, right? Past Friday, it's not going to be the be all and end all. And that's I think the most curious thing but one of the interesting points that Ben raised was that this 5th bid is one of two things. It's either genuine and they want it, and they've always wanted it, and they're going ahead, and that's why they've increased their bid. Or Ben Jacobs was raising the concept that by putting this deadline in, it then gives the Qataris an ability to pull away from it without making it look like they've lost the race to buy Manchester United. If you know what I mean, it gives them a way to sort of save face, if you suppose. I don't know the right way to describe it, but I thought that was quite an interesting concept, because it wasn't one that I was really thinking about. Look, if this Friday deadline is what it is, then we're going to find out far sooner than maybe we would normally anticipate. Because remember, it was about 3 weeks, I think, since the final bids, and then nothing had happened. Nothing had happened. At the very least, it shouldn't be that long this time. Let me see what the Athletic are saying about this. Right, let's go full screen. Sheikh Jassim submits a 5th bid for Manchester United. He submitted that 5th bid. They lodged revised offers. Both parties have been waiting to hear back, but he's decided to make a fresh attempt to beat Ratcliffe. Those close to the bid say that the latest offer is a significant premium on the current share price. I haven't actually figured out exactly what that is. According to Qatari representatives, all Sheikh Jassim's bids promise to clear the debt. We know that. Well, I'm already logged in, so what are you talking about? Mugging me off there on my stream, making me look like I'm not paying for the Athletic, dearie me. I am, I promise. I'm subscribed. That's all we need to say about it. We don't need to get stuck into another conversation today about the takeover. That 5th bid has gone in. Friday is a deadline that we've been told is there. Let's see if that really does force the issue, or whether the Glazers are going to try and, I don't know, call their bluff and just try and delay it further. I don't really know any. I said I didn't really understand any reason why the Glazers would delay any further. This is the reason, I suppose. Well, it was always the possible reason that the Qataris would come over the top, and this is something that I suppose we've said all along. The Qataris can blow Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos out of the water. Now, I wouldn't say that this bid blows them out of the water, but what this bid does is give some real parity between the Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos bid and the now Sheikh Jassim 5th bid. They're quite close. They're in the region of 6 to 6.5 billion in the valuation, because if Jim Ratcliffe is going ahead to buy 51% and he values that at 3 billion, then of course double that, it's around about 6 billion. Then you're going to get into current season confusion. The bids are relatively similar now, and it's pretty much the concept of, will the Glazers take the money up front and the cash now, which comes from Jassim, and walk away? Or will they take the Jim Ratcliffe route, take less now, but ultimately take more? I imagine still, and this is just my gut, I imagine that Ineos bid still appeals to them more. Because why would this is how their mind is going to be thinking. Why would I cash out now if I've got the opportunity to cash a little bit out now, then wait 5 years and cash out 40% more, 50% more? Because the logic is that the value, it's not the logic. Manchester United will go up in value dramatically with the investment in the infrastructure, with the investment in the team, and with success returning. The value of Manchester United in 10 years' time should be significantly more than what it is now, which is what the Glazers are going to be thinking, right? That's what the Glazers are going to be thinking. But let's find out what goes on. That's all the updates on the takeover. Well, it's not really an update. That was kind of the conversation yesterday. A couple of super chats there. Let me read these out. Jordan, how you doing, buddy? Morning, people. And make sure you enjoy your days. Remember to like. Oh, yeah, drop a like on the video. Yeah, Jordan, you're correct, my friend. V33 saying, why isn't there a fan group protesting the favoured bid? There have been protests, V33. That the protests have happened multiple times. There's not really much more that can be said or much more that can be done. Honestly, we just need a decision. And at that point, we can, as a fan base, we can scrutinize to the nth degree, which is what I want to do. At this point, the debate of which bid is better has been exhausted. And the conversation has been exhausted. I think so anyway. I'm Potato Man. You are a proper legend of the community and one of my favorite usernames. And I like to think that you got a potato, drew a face on it, stuck 4 straws in and took a photo. I hope that if I typed in Potato Man into Google, I couldn't find that. You're saying, I read this review of your live streams. It says, not waxing lyrical, but it's abundantly clear the waffling bore region. Oh, my word. Literally have an agenda towards spanking gongs. Also features many open tabs. I am a tab king. I really am a tab king. It's because the software I use, what I want to do is hide that little bit. You shouldn't be able to see my tabs. It should be nice and professional and slick. But I can't do it with this software. It's really quite annoying. So you have to see how many tabs I've got open. Otherwise, it would all be my dirty little secret. But look, let's move on to talk about the transfers. You can see up there, maybe you can't see because there's so many names on that bloody board. Disasi, his name has been added to the list. I don't know where we are now. 55. Oh, I need to update that. That's 56. $56. Right. Good. We'll speak about that a little bit later. I forgot to update that board, but let's go through and let's talk about the main transfer stories. Now, this is an article from The Athletic this morning from Laurie Whitwell. Runs through pretty much every player that we're currently not just linked with, but players who there's actual genuine interest in. Because as you see from that board, we've been linked with 56 players. Probably more than that, I'll be totally honest. I'm guessing there's some names on that I've missed. But 56. And the one player who's on the moving list is Mason Mount. Now, Fabrizio Romano, I think was tweeting this morning, saying, look, United are preparing that opening bid for Mason Mount, but the issue remains Chelsea's position on the price tag. Again, you can see on the board there. Again, you can't. I've got 50 to 70 million pounds. Question mark, question mark, question mark. 50 million was what the Telegraph suggested that Manchester United were willing to pay. But let's find out what the Athletic is saying this morning on Mason Mount. Let's go full screen here. The transfer that is furthest along involves Mason Mount. Ten Hag wants that mobile number 8 who can combine attacking edge with defensive intelligence. Several well-placed sources believe the 24-year-old is readying for the move and personal terms will not be a problem. Talks have been held between the directors of 2 clubs, but there is a significant gap in valuations. Chelsea say they want 70 million plus add-ons. My word. United began pitching at 40 million mark, which is a very realistic valuation. I know that quite a few of you have told me to speak about McAllister, right? Of course, I think Liverpool are going to be probably putting out an announcement today for him because it was 35 million. Not comparable situations. Brighton, an extremely well-run club, will consider that a mistake. The fact that they had that 35 million release clause. I don't even know. Did he sign like a new contract extension that added that release clause into it? I don't know. But 35 million for Alexis McAllister is way under what he's worth. Right? That's what I think. So anyway, so I think Brighton are going to be quite annoyed about that. So I wouldn't really compare that to Mason Mount. But 70 million plus add-ons. It's like Chelsea are living in cuckoo land. And they've been operating in cuckoo land. They spent 120 million on Enzo Fernandez. They spent 90 million. That Mudryk one, remember, he was 90% of the way joining Arsenal, and then they're like, sod that, and they just blew out 89, 90 million for Mudryk. I don't know who else they said. Was it Wesley Fofana for 70? I've no idea. It was 700 million that they have spent since last summer. 70 million plus add-ons is honestly, if I was John Murtough, I would just I probably wouldn't, but you just laugh down the phone. It's like, yeah, are you being serious? Are you genuinely being serious? All right, cool. The thing is, because Chelsea cannot afford to lose him for free next season. They have to sell him. Their books are too mad. They really are. But there's an interesting little sort of development a little conversation point around Mount. I'll go into a little bit of detail now. Jason, someone sent a super chat. How you doing, buddy? You're saying 40 million for Mount, 60 for Caicedo. That's a fair price. Jason, Arsenal had a 70 million plus bid for Caicedo rejected in January, and Caicedo is a better player now than he was then. Caicedo is 80 million minimum, given that they were able to resist 70 million. The logic that you can go in 10 million lower now and get him that's just not happening. But Chelsea really are. I mean, they have been the entire time since Abramovich took over, screwing the transfer market for everyone else. We're all going to have to. We call it the United tax now. This is the Chelsea tax. It's going to cause a massive ripple effect of just outrageous demands. And 70 million plus add-ons for Mason Mount is one of the most laughable things you're ever likely to see. Honestly, it really, really is. Budgets for this, I think this is the interesting part here, right? That if United are going to be uncertain how much money they can recoup in sales until a later date, then they may prioritize a centre forward now and hold off on bidding more for Mason Mount. So that might be pretty much, because remember that I've had Mason Mount on the moving board there since last week now. That the idea that 50 million bid was going to go in. Maybe United, because of Chelsea and their just insane demands. Jonathan, you just said it down there. Like, Chelsea screwed the market for everybody else when Abramovich came in, and they are doing the exact same thing now. Chelsea have just been bad for modern football with both of their ownership models. Abramovich, he was the first of it, and now Todd Boehly is just like a billionaire thinking that he can just come in, slap it on the table, and that's all that matters. Neither of them have been good for the markets, and everybody else has to react to it. And we're going to have to, I mean, it's not like we need excuses to overpay for players, but because of the money that they've been throwing around, everyone else is going to suffer the consequences. And you can look at the McAllister situation and say, well, he was 35 million, but that was a release clause. It's a little bit different. But as it stands, United are preparing that opening bid. Let's see what goes on, because we were preparing that opening bid quite a while ago. That's what I think. Down here, look, United have made a check on Declan Rice, but finances will prohibit them from paying 100 mil for a midfielder. And we already covered that. Declan Rice, as far as I'm concerned, is Arsenal bound. And if it's not Arsenal bound, well, I'll be surprised. And if it's United bound, I'll be pleasantly surprised. But for Declan Rice to happen, my video that was supposed to go out yesterday, I'm now going to put out today. And that's around player sales, because stuff is really starting to happen. And movement's really starting to happen. I'm quite excited about it. But Declan Rice, I think, can just be a side story for this moment in time. Somebody who's becoming a bit of a central story, and kind of has been for these last few weeks, is Kim Min-Jae. Now, Kim Min-Jae, I'm just going to call him Kim. Can't get Kim wrong. I keep forgetting. Just call him Kim. Kim. All the stories from the Italian press have suggested that he's basically moving to Manchester United. They've gone as far as that. Now, this is the first time I believe that the Athletic has spoken about it. We'll speak about this in a minute, but this is what Laurie Whitwell was saying about Kim. He's saying reports in Italy continue to link Kim with United. They have known about him since before his move to Fenerbahce. And he's got that release clause, but sources have played down the prospect of another approach at this stage. So Laurie Whitwell is actually pouring some cold water on it, saying, I know that reports in Italy are suggesting that, he's moving to Manchester United. It's absolutely done. I do think he would be a brilliant signing. And I think the fact that we are linked more so at this moment in time, we are linked far more heavily with progressive ball playing right-sided centre-backs than we are with deeper lying playmakers, I think is another indication towards that new Ten Hag system that I think he's working towards, where he's got Casemiro now. He does need a Casemiro alternative, but he's got Casemiro as that sort of number 6. And then he's going to be asking his 2 centre-backs to be progressing the ball more. That's why we got Martinez, and that's why Kim would absolutely line up with that. But Fabrizio Romano, this was a couple of days ago, saying, look, he is our main target for that right centre-back position. Newcastle are informed as well. But the interesting part there was that he said, look, United are also monitoring the French market for plan B options. And then this happened yesterday. L'Equipe suggesting that Axel Disasi? Axel. Stick to the first names. Axel and Kim. Kim Axel. Cool. Sounds pretty cool. That he is wanted by Manchester United and that he is the plan B option for United if a move for Kim doesn't go through. Now, let's pull this little stat up here. This is a cracking little stat for him. In the same way that we're speaking about, so Kim in Serie A, nobody completed more passes this last season than Kim in Serie A. I think there were only 4 or 5 players in the whole of the division that had more progressive passes than Kim. And if you look here at Axel as well, he averaged 5.8 progressive passes per game, which is in the 96th percentile for centre-backs in the world. He brings the ball forward. He's not just a sideways man. He's a man that can develop the game, that can bring the game further up the pitch. So that's precisely why he would be on our plan B list. A lot of similar characteristics to Kim in that sense, in terms of the progression that he could bring to the team. But so you can clearly see the profiles that United are going for. And that's why I'm you can do this all you want with all these mad amounts of targets. But because, and that's why I don't know, is my video today? I think my video today I might do it on Ten Hag's overall plans, because I think it's becoming quite clear about he wants a ball playing progressive right-sided centre-back. He wants an athletic, dynamic number 8 who can add to the attack but also add to the defence as well. They're 2 clear player profiles I think we're looking at, and a world-class striker that you know of as well, amongst other things. Someone sent a super chat there. Let me read this one out. JVD, how you doing, buddy? Nice to see you there. Legend. Thank you very much, super chat. Sam, do you think us being so active in the transfer market is a sign that the Glazers will sell because they know they don't need to pay for it? No, I don't think our activity doesn't have anything to do with the Glazers. Our activity has everything to do with preparation that has happened across the course of the season. And they can't just sit there and wait for the takeover situation you can't do that. It's impossible. However, making moves for players, putting bids in, is something that we still haven't done yet. We're still in the I suppose, the legwork stage, the early stages where we're looking at targets, we're identifying who our main ones are, we're being in contact with Napoli over Min-Jae, we're speaking directly to Atalanta over Hojlund, who wants to join Manchester United. But at this moment, there's still no bids going in. And I suppose until those bids start going in, where the money starts coming in and getting involved, that's when you speak to your owners and stuff. At this moment in time, it's just the scouting department doing their job. So let's find out what happens when the bids come in. And of course, there's one man who sits atop the plan. He's at the very, very top. Harry Kane. I think we all know that now. And I think we all have the same concerns that, well, it's never going to happen. Let's run through what the Athletic say on Harry Kane. The overriding requirement for a new centre forward, well, we know what it is. Harry Kane is seen as ideal for him. United executives have privately expressed a reluctance to get drawn into a prolonged negotiation. Quite a few of you have mentioned the idea that Harry Kane could end up being a Frenkie de Jong V2, and that's pretty much the same concerns that are raised here by the Athletic. Ten Hag is said to feel United do have a genuine chance of signing him. Some believe that Daniel Levy, while happy to take, will be happy to take negotiations to the end of the window, and does not need to sell this summer. Real Madrid, I think this is an interesting part here. Where is it said there? The Athletic saying that Kane is open to a move to Real Madrid because of the prestige of Real Madrid. And I don't know if there's any player in world football that can have Real Madrid interested in them and go, nah, never mind. Doesn't matter how loyal they are to their club. Doesn't matter what trophies or goal records or anything that they're currently chasing. You can't just blanket go, nah, no to Real Madrid. Although I don't think he will. David, you're saying Mbappe did? Mate, Mbappe. Like, fair play, by the way, to Messi. I say fair play. He's still going to get an absolute wedge. But I quite enjoyed seeing Messi go to Inter Miami instead of going to Saudi Arabia. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. Because I don't just want... The Saudi Arabian League is the new version of the old Chinese league. Remember that? Well, I was talking about it with a couple of mates yesterday. Do you remember? Type it in the comments. Who remembers any big transfers that happened into the Chinese league? Because there was Oscar. There was a Brazilian striker. I'll leave that down there as a quiz question. There's no prize here. It's just fun. Jackson Martinez from Atletico Madrid. There you go. Ben Hodgson came in there straight away. It was Hulk. Well done, everybody. Quite a few of you got Hulk. Fellaini went there. Of course, the man, the legend, Odi Nagalo went there. But that's what happened in China, and nothing really happened. It was just they threw a ton of money at it, hoped it worked. It didn't stick. The Chinese league has gone like that now. Saudi Arabia is doing their own version of it. They got Ronaldo. Benzema's coming in. Kante. 32-year-old Kante is on 100 million euros a season. That's 250 grand a day, tax-free. How'd you spend that amount of money? Honestly, how do you do it? I'm sure you can. But woo, that is a lot of dough. So I was quite happy to see Messi going to Inter. Shame really though, because Phil Neville's just left. Phil Neville's just left, so there was a real opportunity for Phil Neville to manage him, and I thought that would have just been hilarious. Oscar, Hulk, Jackson Martinez, Fellaini, and there's some other ones as well. We ran through the top 10. I can't remember who it was. But let's speak about the transfer of Rasmus Hojlund. I still haven't moved Hojlund up to the moving list, but I suppose he's as close as we are in terms of a striker. Let's see what it's saying down here. Rasmus Hojlund of Atalanta is prime among the thoughts if we're moving on from Harry Kane. In light of this, Ten Hag spoke to Hojlund by video call several weeks ago. So Sammy Luckhurst was correct on that. His form has fluctuated. We know that. Let's move on. United must decide whether he is ready for the Premier League now or to wait and see how he develops. He is eager to make the move to United now. And I thought that part was interesting. The agreement between Hojlund and SEG, who represent Ten Hag, that only exists for this upcoming transfer window. But Hojlund wants to move to United. And I always say that it's an important aspect of any player. Man United should only be signing players that genuinely want to be here, that want to be part of this, I don't want to call it project, of this football club under Erik ten Hag. I think it's more important than people give it credit for. Having a player that doesn't want to be here, Alexis Sanchez, Angel Di Maria, I'm sure there are plenty others. Hojlund wants to make the move. That's step one. Whether he's good enough to come to Manchester United as our out-and-out number 9, I've definitely got concerns. And if you go down here, this is something that is clearly part of Ten Hag's plan. I'm going to highlight that one because it's really important. Erik ten Hag is not looking at Hojlund as the only striker signing. He's looking at him and saying, right, I need a proven goal scorer and a young striker. And I'll be honest, I'm surprised at this moment in time. Correct me if I'm wrong. Has anybody really properly been linked with Marcus Thuram? Because I don't think they have. Obviously, the Borussia Mönchengladbach striker, he's 26. He's a bit more proven. He's not necessarily a pure number 9. He plays kind of on the left and through the middle. But as a combination, Thuram and Hojlund could really, maybe they could work well. Because I don't think United, we haven't got the money for Kane and Hojlund together. PSG are getting linked with him. Well, okay, that's one team who's getting linked with him. I'm surprised that there isn't sort of more. There aren't more names and clubs being linked with him because he's probably one of the best names available on the free transfer market. Every season there are some players who are available. There's a couple of super chats there. Let me read these out before we move on. Who sent them in? C, thank you very much, dude. Legend. What you're saying? You're saying, how will Sir Jim invest in the stadium and infrastructure if he takes over? Where is he going to get the money from, considering he can't afford to buy the Glazers out? Have we missed this commitment? No. Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos have been quite purposeful in leaving out anything about that as it stands. And also, at the same time, the Qatari group have been very purposeful in saying, this is what we pledged to do. Because from a PR perspective, it's a real way to gain support. When you look at Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos, when they tried to buy Chelsea, the bid was, I think, 2.5 billion. But then it included, I believe it was a 1.75 billion pledge for a new stadium, for investment in the community. So he did do that pledge with Chelsea. Just hasn't, at this point, done that with Manchester United. Doesn't mean that he won't do it. It's part of buying Manchester United. You can't become United's new owners without investing in the infrastructure. Jim Ratcliffe-wise, it would come through more financing, more loans that would probably be on Ineos's books, but it would have to be done through financing, which does raise a lot of red flags for me, and you know why. Ahmad, how you doing? Saudi is just trying to attract interest. Of course they are, to the 2030 World Cup, and it's a big reason why it's a huge coup for the MLS, for America, ahead of the World Cup. Next World Cup's there, isn't it? 2026? 2026? I think it is. I don't know. I think it's 2026. That's going to be a cracking one. I'm hoping to go to that. I think that'll be wicked. And let me see what you're saying down here in the comments. Fosu Mensah is on the move. Remember him? Mate, when we signed Fosu Mensah, I think it was from Ajax, a 16-year-old. I remember watching him for the under-18s. I was like, this kid looks great. Injuries didn't help him at all. Jim Ratcliffe will put forward investment in the club. Just because he's not saying it doesn't mean he's not going to do it. That's what I think. And there's another super. No, actually, I've read both super chats out. But yeah, Ten Hag wants 2 strikers. Really wants 2 strikers. This has been repeated now for weeks, and that's why I want to do that video today on Ten Hag's plans, because I think the plans really have sort of emerged. He wants a proven striker, a young striker, a mobile number 8, a really confident, ball progressing, right-sided centre back. And then we're going to have conversations around. I feel like the Caicedo signing, or that style of player, will come after sales. I think so. Anyway, it feels like there are other players where clearly the striker is number 1, and probably the ball playing centre back is number 2, and Mason Mount, of course, as well. It's interesting. Dark and light. What you're saying? You're saying buy a left winger, Rashford as a number 9 and Hojlund as the backup. That's also been touted as a potential alternative. But I think that's, in my opinion, it feels like that's probably more of an alternative rather than part of a plan. I think the plan is to get those number 9s. But if you can't get those number 9s, then that's what you've got to do, right? You need fullbacks. You can't just have all your eggs in one basket. And if you do that, well, you're probably just going to get stung. But I'm going to do my lunchtime video today. Will be running through this and running through Ten Hag's overall plans, because I think enough has happened now. Enough has been said in enough different places that we can pull that plan together and exactly where United are going. So we can pretty much run through that list and just scrap the majority of the ones that we don't think will fit that profile. And we can streamline that down to a smaller list, more towards pretty much what we got down there, because there's a few names down there. Can I ask you now quickly, if you can, just please drop a like on the video. I always mention it once every show. If you haven't already, make sure you buy your raffle ticket. Every single month we hold a raffle. This is the biggest prize so far. We've literally got 50-inch 4K Samsung TV and a Bose soundbar. I'd love to have this myself. It's a cracking prize. The biggest value of the prize as well. £1 per ticket. If you'd like to buy it, it's just down there. I'd encourage you to do so. It's going to be running for the whole of June, and then you wait until you see the prize for July. Prize for July is, jeez, it's cracking. Angus, you're saying Hojlund could be our Alvarez. I think that's quite a fair comparison, if I'm totally honest. Julian Alvarez, of course, World Cup winner with Argentina, second choice striker behind Erling Haaland, but a very good striker. Scored some important goals for City this year. A decent footballer. I think that Hojlund could sort of fall into that category, in my opinion. And I think that's the level I see him at. I'm not saying that Alvarez isn't capable of being the number 9, but I think if you're competing for the title, I don't think Hojlund is enough on his own. I think that'll be unfair to expect that of any 20-year-old in football. Don't compare him to Erling Haaland, who's just a freak of nature in all the right ways. He's just he'll be breaking all the rules and setting all the records. Like, look at this. I found this quite interesting. This is a lot of data to take on board, but let me try and explain it to you. This is from Reddit. This is looking at the top 5 goal scorers in the top 5 leagues, right? And seeing if you took, so Muani, for example, got 15 goals and 14 assists for Frankfurt this season. And they had 50 points. But if you take away all the goals and the assists that he scored, how many points would they have? And you can see that for Frankfurt, they would have been 20 points worse off without Muani. He was significantly important to them. And that's what it is. It's showing the importance of the top goal scorers to where those teams finish. You look at Man City and Erling Haaland with 36 goals. If his goals didn't exist this year, they would have been 31%. They would have been 31 points worse off. Of course, they would have had a different striker, so it wouldn't have been just like that. But it's interesting to see how important their goals were to their team's successes this season. Only 16 goals, by the way, for the top scorer in the Bundesliga. They did not have a flourishing season, did they? Antoine, I didn't realize that Griezmann had a bit of a resurgence. Look at that. 15 goals and 17 assists. That kind of went under the radar. He was worth 25 points there to Atletico Madrid. No surprises there to see how important Mbappe was to PSG. But look at that. Jonathan David was worth 25 points to Lille. 24 goals and 4 assists. He had a cracking season. He's been progressing quite a lot. He's actually linked with the move to Real Madrid. I think they're saying that the profile of David matches where Benzema was when they signed him, so could sort of fall in line. I thought that was an interesting one. Keep an eye on Jonathan David, what he does. And look, even though Victor Osimhen was a top scorer in Serie A with Napoli, it was actually Rafael Leao's goals for Milan that made the biggest difference with Lautaro Martinez, who we're all a massive fan of. Lautaro Martinez, by the way. Absolutely. Yes, please. I'm seeing someone down there in the comments. Let me see if this is correct before we start speaking about it, because that'll be an interesting thing. Not being said there. Sorry, one second. I'm just quickly checking the news. Nothing at this point in time. We'll ignore that. We'll ignore that for now. There's a couple of super chats. Let me read that. I know it's a lot of data there. It's a lot of info, but I thought it's quite interesting. And I didn't realize he got 14 assists as well, Moani. That's a complete striker. Someone who really can help both parts of the game. Jordan, you're saying if I get the prize, I'll do a rock, paper, scissors with you. You win, you get it. I win, I want to. Hey, we're not gamblers here. Although I do love roulette. Big up roulette. I miss roulette. Not in Vegas, though. Roulette in Vegas was terrible. Let's not speak about that. Ryan Lord, you're saying Declan Rice is officially for sale. West Ham chairman just confirmed it. That's what I was trying to look for. I can't see that anywhere. I'm sure it might be true, might not be true, but I can't see that anyway. I found these stats interesting. Look at this. Where do you reckon? Where do you reckon Manchester United are on this list in terms of how many set pieces they needed to take before they scored? 42. 42 set pieces per goal this season. I'm laughing. It's really not funny. Like we are so I can't remember the last time that I felt that Manchester United were genuinely threatening from a set piece. But only Brighton are worse than us. Well, that is terrible. But conversely, right, you see how bad we are at scoring from set pieces. I thought that we would have been equally as bad at defending from set pieces. But actually, we've got the 5th best defensive record for defending from set pieces. We got on here. Who's got the worst? Brighton. Wow, Brighton have really had a bad season when it comes to set pieces. They are the worst at scoring from them and the worst at defending from them. But United have actually 3rd on that list, which kind of does surprise me a bit. I'll be honest. I always get a little bit sketchy when United concede set pieces, and I was like, oh God, please don't concede. But no, apparently we're the 5th best. I thought those stats are quite interesting. Everyone's telling me to look harder because it's all over Sky News. Declan Rice. Well, we know he's leaving anyway, right? We don't need that confirmation. Absolutely, he's leaving. I think he's joining Arsenal. That's what I think. Man City are 3rd bottom. I didn't even realise that. Jeez. Which is very surprising because Man City have got an absolutely huge team. Wouldn't have expected that. But look, that's the show for today. We covered everything, I think. I enjoyed it, as I always do. Last minute of the show, as always, fire in your questions. If you've got anything that you want to ask me that I haven't spoken about in this show, now is the time. Please make sure you do drop a like on the video. I'll be back at lunchtime today for a full, I'm going to do like a Ten Hag's transfer plans video. I think it's all now clear where we're looking at this summer. It's not about speculation anymore. I think you can really talk about a defined plan. Linton is saying choose Hojlund or Moani. Hojlund and Moani, Moani is effectively just a more developed version of him. I think Moani is 12 months ahead in terms of development. So anything that Hojlund could do at United next season, I think Moani would probably just do it a little bit better and a little bit quicker. It's not to say that he couldn't develop into it, but I think they're quite similar. And in the terms of the price, I think Moani, you're probably looking at near enough double what Hojlund would be because you don't have to wait for that development because it's already developed. That's what I think. So anyways, I think both of them, I'm not just sitting on the fence about it. I think they're quite similar profiles. I think I prefer Hojlund because I would love to have like a proper, I don't know, I would love to have a physical specimen up front and one that can actually move as well. I think it's a part of, I just look at Haaland and go, I want my own version of Haaland. So I'm looking at Hojlund. Can't help it. I think people down there, one sec. Oh man, look at that. I'm Potato is feeling particularly potatoey today. Particularly potatoey? Well, he is now. Absolute ledge. Another 5 gifted memberships, man. I can't believe this gong became a thing. I really can't. But the gongshi. One more little tickle. And I tell you what, right? Everyone's like, why stop gifting memberships to the channel? And I'm like,
we're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway.
yes, finish on a Barry. Still getting Barry out for that bus. I swear, we need to get in contact with Barry and get that sorted. But look, big up to everyone for tuning in. Thank you very much. I'll be here on Friday, 10 a.m. Tomorrow, we're going to be having another little quiz, another little spot prize giveaway. Plenty. It's going to be a cracking show. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow.